What's going on, everybody? This is Clark Beckham, former runner-up of American Idol Season 14. We are going over the top 11 today. Oh, tell me, oh, tell me, oh, tell me that you know me. My power went out last night, so I missed a giant chunk of the show. And when it finally came back on, I was able to watch what was recorded. And then basically I had to watch the whole show from YouTube. When I did come into the show, I started it pretty late into it and I saw who was in the top 10 at that point. Wait, who's already in? Are these people already in? Oh, I'm gonna be upset about some things. Okay. There's so many great singers. As soon as I saw 2 or 3 people that I didn't really agree with being in the top 10, I knew that that meant 2 or 3 or 4 people that I think really needed to be in the top 10 would not be in. Louis Knight sang In My Place by Coldplay. Louis's been killing the song choices. He's always picked great songs. His voice, it just doesn't quite measure up to me. There are so many good singers on this season, and he's great. He's an interesting person. He performs well, but when you just go to his voice, I just haven't been that impressed. Julia Gargano, another wonderful person who I have said their name wrong. Other one was Nick Marico. I kept saying Marico instead of Marico, but that's because I'm from Tennessee, and a little bit of me is a country hick. Wish that I was on a rocky top. Julia Gargano, I said Juliana just because I was so enraptured by her graceful singing that I wanted to put on more syllables of Juliana, just make it, I don't know what I was doing. Julia knocked it out of the park once again. Some folks like to get away. Better sing this song. Take a holiday from the neighborhood. Better sing this song. Hop a flight to Miami Beach. It comes down to reality. It's fine with me, cause I'll let it slide. She's a beast. I'm in a new state of mind. Hey! Ooh. What were those? Gross, MD, yes. So the chords are... The melody he's playing is... Gross. That's dirty. Great song choice. Sounds like a legendary Idol contestant. Certain contestants have these moments where you go, oh, they're going to be thought of when American Idol is talked about as a whole. Oh, do you remember Julia Gargano? Oh, do you remember Catherine McPhee? Oh, do you remember Elliot Yamin? She's having some really, really strong moments in the exact right time. She is a dark horse to win the whole thing. Maybe she's not a dark horse. Maybe she's a light horse, a light-colored horse. A white horse? Maybe she's obvious. She's got a shot at it. Lionel had a little bit of a lapse. I said last time that I think he's the best judge they've ever had, that he's so good at talking. He's very eloquent, always has great things to say. For Julia, after a wonderful performance, he said, talk about a New York state of mind. You put us in a New York state of mind. Okay, but I love Lionel. We found out how they're recording these performances. Last time I said they're taking more than one take. I found out that they're doing 3 takes. One for a line check or a sound check, just to make sure everything's plugged in right and everything's going through and they're getting signal. The second one is the performance. They keep that audio. What you do is what you come away with, period. And then the third take is just for more camera options. That's when you feel like their mouth and the audio isn't lining up. That's because they're taking something from a third take that they're trying to match up, just to give them more visual assets. Jovin Webb, What Kind of Voodoo Do You Do? Alan Stone, great song. Jovin's another one who's picking really good songs. I wasn't impressed by his last performance, but the bottom line is he is a great singer and delivers, sounds great every time. He's super consistent, might be the best performer on stage, just visually how he moves and how he uses what he has. I mean, he's got a great voice, the tone of his voice, the rasp, it's sweet. He looks cool. He's really got a full package going. The band was killing it. The bass player made me scream once again. Ah! Bass player. Grace Lear, Over the Rainbow. Grace Lear had a not great performance last week, and she made it into the top 10. Here's the thing. It's really hard for me to say this person made it in and they shouldn't have made it in. I really struggle with it because I, as a former contestant, saw the havoc that media or reviewers would have on contestants. So I really struggle. But if I'm going to be honest with you, and that's what you're watching, and this is a career that I want, commentary and even hosting and judging, I think there were other people that were better for this spot than Grace. I think Grace is great. She's really good at camera work. Like, her looks to camera are golden. The light looked wonderful on her. Pretty sure she was outside, but she was flat a lot. Her big notes were very open vowels instead of centered. That is more of a personal preference. It's like a techie vocal thing. But when she goes open and big open vowels like that, she was just under the pitch. And if she made it more centered, one might think that she might be able to nail it better. So like, somewhere or somewhere. Just a difference between where. One's more centered, one's more open, and sometimes you can get caught behind the note and you're just flat and you can't quite get up. Chest voice, you kind of get stuck. And I say that. Now let me go ahead and address the elephant in the room. The video quality just changed quite a bit. I think probably the frame changed as well. That's because the camera I was using ran out of batteries and I don't have the charger because I'm borrowing it. Cause we're balling on a budget. So I'm using my iPhone now. Well, you might ask, why not use your iPhone all the time? Well, it's because Apple loves to do things that make no sense to make your life harder, like take the headphone jack away from your phone. One of those things is their video doesn't record at a steady frame rate. So when I have audio recording, which I have separately, and then I try to sync it up. It'll be synced at the beginning, but then the end, the audio's steady and the video goes back and it just doesn't sync in it's annoying. The ring light ain't cute. And I say this after Grace's performance because her lighting was the best out of everybody because she was outside and had natural light, and maybe the ring light too, but the ring light by itself indoors is weird. It's flushing people out and the ring light ain't cute. I'm just gonna say it. When the power went off, I gotta be honest with you, I got sad and upset and went to Kroger. I watched this entire thing with chocolate chip cookies and a giant glass of milk in a frozen mug. Judge me. It's fine. You can judge me if you want to. It doesn't bother me. I'm living a better life than you when I'm not afraid to eat milk and cookies like a 5-year-old. Jonny West sang Faithfully. Great song. I'm worried that he's starting to be a little bit of a one-trick pony. His one trick is delightful. Can he make an entire career on that trick? Yes, he can. Can he win American Idol on that one trick? Yes, he can. So you can think of it as he knows his strength and he's sticking to it, or maybe he's showing that he's a little less versatile than some of the other contestants. He's doing ballads with dreamy eyes every single week, and he's killing it, and it's wonderful, and he's playing piano, and again, you can see it is sticking to his strength, or maybe he can't quite do as much as other people can. That being said, his falsetto was gross, just perfect and sweet.
I'm forever yours.
Ooh.
Faithfully.
Ew. Falsetto. Oof. Sophia James. I was so scared about her from last week, making it to this crazy, crazy tough cut.
The next person in our top 10 is Sophia.
Let's go! But she made it. She sang In My Room, and the moment I heard the song choice, I knew we were gonna get Sophia in her natural habitat.
Laugh at yesterday.
Better play the piano! Oh, you better.
Great job, Sophia.
And not with that major 7. A beautiful Beach Boys tune with beautiful chords, beautiful melody, beautiful singing. Talk about versatility. She can do anything, but of all the things that she can do well, this is my favorite stuff. The quality is so high as far as just the quality of music that she produces. Like Katie said, upper echelon. You've got your Toyotas and you've got your Mercedes. You've got your Hondas and you've got your Porsches. And the quality of music that comes out of her is a Porsche. It just is. Sometimes people prefer Camrys. Great cars. My mom had a Camry, lasts forever. And then some people who like the finer things, like Porsches or fine wine. She's fine wine. Had a lot of high praise from the judges. Katie said something I totally agree with, but it's really cool to hear from a professional like herself that Sophia is going to have a career in music regardless of how this competition ends for her. There's too much talent that she has and too many X factors that she possesses. You see all the families coming in afterwards and you see the videos and pictures. You start to meet the families of the contestants, and it really reminded me, one thing I'm so grateful that Idol did for me is what it did for my family, what it did for my mom, what it did for my dad. Those experiences for them were priceless. I think as a parent, when your child is so talented, you just want them to be seen. And that's what American Idol is doing for the contestants. And while it's wonderful for the contestants, we really can't overlook what it does for the family. Next person we got going through is Arthur Gunn. Figured this would happen. A lot of people in the comments think that Arthur's gonna win. I think it's possible. I don't really know. He's got something about him, a nice, sweet guy, and he's got a good voice. He could totally do that James Bay thing. His eyes weren't rolling in the back of his head as much. He takes great notes. If someone told him like, hey, make sure you open your eyes more, he does it, just like his audition. His voice sounded better. I definitely liked this performance way better than the previous one. A reggae version of Take Me Home Country Roads by John Denver. I don't like it. I think that specifically is super just a personal preference. I just love the original song so much. Doesn't mean it's the wrong choice. Could have been the perfect choice, just as long as more people liked it than didn't. But I would be on the side of didn't like it. And he kept singing the wrong words. I know you're nervous and sometimes words just come out, but like, take me home, country road to the place I belong. And he doubled down. He said, I adore. And then he said, I adore again. He said, I adore every time. Next person to go through was Just Sam. She cried. I get it. Very emotional. A lot of people cried, especially when you're going from 20 to 10. I talked a lot about Sam crying. And I've talked a lot about it because she cries a lot. And that's fine. That's great. Good to be in touch with your emotions. And I'm not being sarcastic. I mean that. When I looked up a headshot for Just Sam, for everybody, it was them smiling or singing. If you just Google Just Sam American Idol images, 9 out of 10 of the pictures are just her crying. My acting coach would punch me in the face if she heard me do that. And I think she watches this video, so she's probably very upset because you cannot tell a person when they deserve to cry and don't deserve to cry. Let me be very clear about that. It's an extremely emotional state, high intensity, high stakes. Big deal. She's fine to cry as much as she wants. Tears are great. I mean, I can count on one hand how many times I cried like a year ago. And now, like through this acting class, we really got to that emotion and I began to cry. I've started crying in normal life way more, and it's way better to cry. Crying is cool. Crying is great. Feels good. It's good stuff. I'm not mad that Just Sam's crying. I'm just saying that she cried again. And that all the pictures on Google of her are of her crying. And she has actress in her bio. She sang Grandma's Hands, another instance where Just Sam picks the perfect song. She is someone who has picked the perfect song, I think, every time she's sung, by the late, great Bill Withers, who just passed away this year. She seems a little uneasy being on camera and in a small apartment. That could go because she's by herself. It could go because she's not with a full band. She doesn't know what to do. There's a lot of factors that, but other people are making it work, and she seems just a little out of her skin. Let me be very clear. She has one of the best voices in the competition, and she absolutely could win. And if she did win, she would be deserving. I just wish we could have a stage, man, where she could really just get it. They had Stevie Wonder on, which was awesome. I love Stevie Wonder. I think he's the greatest artist of all time. When it comes to songwriting, lyrically, chordally, melodically, he wins. I think he's the best of all time. First thing that he said was, when you have the gift, you've got to be committed. And I actually got to meet Stevie one time backstage at a concert of his. And I just told him, I was like, hi, Stevie, I'm Clark Beckham. I sang 2 of your songs on American Idol. He's like, oh, which ones? Like Superstition and Living for the City.
His father worked some days for 14 hours.
And he just said, that's great, man. Don't quit. Don't quit. Don't quit. That's all he said. I was like, I won't, I promise. And the first thing that comes out of his mouth here is you've got to have commitment when you have the gift. couldn't agree more. People ask me, my son has all this talent, my son or my daughter has all this talent and these gifts, but they won't put in the work. That's fine. Music's not for them. Now listen, I took piano lessons and I took guitar lessons and I hated both of them. Hated practicing, didn't want to touch it. I cried. I was 12. I wasn't like 6. I cried when my parents told me I had to go to my guitar lesson. I hated it. But when I got away from that and started learning on my own, I started to love it. And when I started to love it, then I started to get obsessed. And when I became obsessed, then my work ethic followed. People come with their kids and they're like, they've got all the talent. Do it. Come on. Hey, do it. Work. It doesn't work like that. In order for it to snow, it's got to be below freezing and it's got to have precipitation. You have to have both. I remember being excited about a potential snow day because it was 20 degrees outside. And I was like, oh my gosh, all it needs to do now is to rain for it to snow. And my friend's dad was like, there's no precipitation. So I was like, yeah, but it's so close. He's like, but it's not. But it's not raining. It's not snowing. And that's the thing. When there's talent, that's great, but there has to be commitment and work ethic. The perseverance and drive, is that just a natural God-given ability? Kind of. I think actually it's the love and the passion of music that's a God-given ability that is the fuel for perseverance. And you've got to have both. If you don't, that's fine. Music will be a really cool hobby or a party trick for you, but it's not going to be your career. I've been doing these videos and I've been really loving it. One fear I had, but realized it was inevitable, is at some point a contestant's gonna watch this. Because on my season, there was a review show on YouTube that I watched every week. And we all watched it. We talked about it. And we were told not to watch it, but we watched it anyway. I saw some contestants, if they heard negative talk and how they disapproved, it tore them apart. And the producers were saying over and over again, do not watch reviews. So if you're a contestant and you're hearing this, don't watch this. I'm serious. Don't watch the review, because 3 things are going to happen. 2 of them are bad. 1, I'm going to gas you up. You're going to think, oh man, I'm a beast. Yo, Clark said I hit that note or the run or falsetto or whatever. Oh, I'm a beast. And it's going to gas you up and you're going to slip. Pride comes before the fall. That's one thing that could happen. 2, in giving honest feedback and making the best and the highest quality review I can make, I might have a note that you were flat or that you missed a run or you did this. I've got to show both sides. And when you hear that, that's going to hurt you and it's going to down your confidence. You've got to find a way to have a thicker skin than that, because honestly, I don't matter. No one who has an opinion about you with a microphone and a camera set up matters, okay? It's only about you and your career. The masses matter, and clearly the masses like you or you wouldn't be on this show. If I have something negative to say about you, if you can take it and make it better, that's great. But if it hurts and you take it personally, which most do, and that's very natural, then I would advise you not to watch, because people like me who are doing reviews on these shows don't matter to your career. They don't. You just keep doing you. Do great things. You're in the top 10 of American Idol. America voted you to be here, so they love you. Keep going. At this point, 8 of the top 10 have been revealed. There are 12 more contestants with only 2 spots left, and I'm thinking there are 3 people that there's no way they don't get in. There's no way Dillon James doesn't make it. There's no way Francisco Martin doesn't make it in. I think America loves him, and he's great. But then, what about Makayla? Dillon James sang yesterday, I thought the tempo was a little fast and he kind of just chugged along. Katie said the same thing, sang it straight ahead. I thought it was really good though. The song's in the key of F and he kept playing an F major 7. And now I am the biggest fan of major 7 chords. They sound like this. All my songs are littered with major 7 chords. I love them, but some songs you don't need it and you don't want it. So yesterday was a song like that to me, especially when you're ending on the 1. So major 7 is the 7th note in the scale, and it's a half step away from the 1st note in the scale. And at the very end, he ends, oh, I believe in yesterday. Boom, there's 1. And he plays a major 7 chord. Yesterday. I don't like it. I think it's contrived. I think it's yesterday. Look at my cold chord. Rather than yesterday. Personal preference? Just a note I thought I'd make. He had some killer B-roll. I loved him, and I think he's so likable. I'm just a huge cheerleader for him. And then I saw his B-roll, which is the clips that they play before in the house and that kind of a thing. And I love him even more now. Seeing him interact with his brothers and sisters and parents and how he's content at home. I just love him. Let me clarify. Last episode, I said that he reminded me of the lead in the show Waco and that he could be a cult leader if he wanted to. Let me say what I mean by that. If Dillon James, in all of his long hair, tattooed glory, came to me and told me, hey, God spoke to me and we got to go live in this house with no running water and I'm actually the Lamb of God, I'd be like, maybe he's right. Kidding aside, he's just a likable guy. Francisco Martin, he's just got a really brandable voice. It's like an iconic voice without being too weird. So usually someone has a weird voice that sounds good, and then people go, wow, that's an iconic voice. That's a recognizable voice. He has all of those traits without the voice being gimmicky or odd. It just sounds like $1,000,000. His anxiety gives me pause because if you want to be a musician at the highest level, you're going to live in anxious environments. You have to figure it out. But isn't he doing that? Isn't he figuring it out? Like he's in these anxious environments and every time he sings, not only does he sing great, he looks great. Like his face, he's like, I'm bad. Ooh, yeah, I got this note. Ooh, how about this one? Like he just looks like he's killing it. So go for it, bro. And once the final top 10 spot was taken by Francisco in the middle of his performance, it hit me. I'd forgotten. The judges have a save. It's got to be Makayla. The judges announced they're going to use their save, and immediately I'm like, it's Makayla. It's Makayla. It's Makayla. It's got to be Makayla. I don't want to be that guy that says I called it, but it's got to be Makayla. Got to be Makayla. It has to be Makayla. It has to be Makayla. Yep. I called it. So Makayla makes it and she performs and she knocks it down. She shows us the star that she is and gives us a masterclass on how to sing songs. The way that she carries notes across, uses her vibrato, takes breaths in specific places, vocal runs, the way that she crafts together a song, a performance is masterful. She has beautiful tone, beautiful moments that she picks and places in the song. She had a couple pitch issues, but for me personally, it didn't bother me because she was so well connected to the camera. Katie mentioned that too. She felt like she was singing straight to her, and I felt the same. And the little trills and the falsetto and that vibrato, everything she did was so sweet and perfect and just masterful craftsmanship that the pitch issues that did reveal themselves didn't bother me so much. And then that's it. Top 11 are announced. We're going to go to top 7 next week. And the show ended. Nick Mariko, Sanaya, Dwayne. Oh, that hurt. I kind of saw it coming when I saw that he had the least amount of views on YouTube. I mean, the runs he did. So good. And he's gone. That hurt. But we got no goodbye to these great contestants that got cut, that we've fallen in love with thus far. They were just gone. Unless that was a moment that happened that I missed. There was no like, goodbye to all our contestants. We love you, blah, blah, blah. They're done. And Kimmy Gabriella. Oh, dang it. I don't know what it was about her that didn't stand out like she needed to in order to make it through. Big part of it is not being the beginning. Remember when I talked about how hard it was to sing at the beginning and then make it through? 5 of the top 10 were the last 5 to sing. Out of 20 people last week, half of the top 10 was made up of spots 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. 8 of the top 10 sang in the last hour of the show. Only 2 people in the first hour of the show made it through, and that's Louis and Jovin, which says a lot about Jovin, that America's really digging him, and Louis too. So who did we have at the beginning this time? Louis, Johnny, Grace, Julia, and Jovin. I think the winner of the night is Makayla. Not only did she not make it, so all of her fans went, we didn't do a good enough job. She didn't make it in the top 10. We got to get her in there for this next cut. But she also sang in the pimp spot. She was the last person to sing, and she crushed it. I think she's for sure going to make it. That being said, here's how my top 10 stacked up. Here's my top 10 that I gave last week. Here's what I predicted. Here's what actually happened. So we're going down to 7 next week. Here's my top 7. And here's a top 7 that I think will happen, and I'll probably be super wrong. Anyway, that's all I've got. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment what you think. Tell me I'm wrong and I will tell you I'm right. But that's the fun of it. Don't take it personal. I'm just having fun with you guys. Share this video on your social media platforms. Show it to your friends. Text people the video. The more this gets out, the better. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next week.